to the NFL Week 1. I don't even know. There's not even a whole lot Week 1 games. A lot of good matchups here, but first one is Chiefs Lions. Before we get to any games we want to discuss here, we're going to go through our division winners and our seeds for the NFC and AFC. We're going to do a surprise team and a disappointing team, and then we're going to give out our MVP. So we'll start in the AFC, and division winners here. We'll start in the East. Bills are the defending. I think they three. Is it 3 or 4, Pete?
4.
It'd be 4. Yeah, I think the Bills 4, Pete. I think they're going to take another step back. My worry is Josh Allen is one hit away from being out for the year. Yep, becoming Cam Newton. But I still think there's enough talent on that roster. I think defensively, I think they might get off to a little bit of a slow start with Von Miller not being out there, but drafted well. I think they're going to be able to stay in and win some games. And once Von Miller gets back for that stretch run, I think that's going to help them, and they're going to be playing at their best. I think they also had a lot of, the DeMar Hamlin situation. I think that affected them a lot more than it showed. They had that kickoff return, but when everything kind of wears down, that emotion wears down, that's still a very traumatic thing to go through. And by the end of the season, they just looked ready for it to be over. But I still think the Bills are talented enough. Josh Allen's still the quarterback. I think they win the AFC East. In the AFC North, Bengals three-peat. Bengals are three-peat, and Joe Burrow sounds like he is close to getting a contract extension. Luckily it sounds like his lower body injury has healed. He was a full participant this week. I think the Bengals, they have too many weapons. They have too strong. Their offensive line has taken another step forward, signing Orlando Brown, and Joe Burrow still wearing number 9. So Bengals three-peat in the AFC North. And then in the South, probably the weakest, and both Souths are the weakest divisions in football. I'm going with the Jaguars to repeat here. I am big on the Trevor Lawrence hype train. I think, trading for Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, they've improved their offensive line. I really like this Jaguars team. I think they're going to take the next step. And I like the Jaguars to be the representative out of the AFC South. And then in the AFC West, there's so much drama going on with Kansas City right now. There's Chris Jones being a diva, losing Frank Clark, losing some guys on the offensive line. They don't have a solid running game. Travis Kelce is hurt. Yep. There's so much drama right now. I think this might be the end of the Chiefs dynasty. No, I'm just kidding. The Chiefs are going to win the AFC West and probably be the only representative out of the AFC West this year. And so, like I said, AFC I'll go 1 through 7 here on my 1 through 7 here on the seeds. I like the Chiefs at 1. Their schedule, and of course, the NFL colludes with the Hunt family, so of course, they're going to get their schedule's going to set up perfectly. It's going to be nice and easy. They get some cupcakes out right off the bat. They're going to get the 1 seed. 2 seed, I got a surprise here. I said I was high on the Jaguars, and I'm fully on it, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Jaguars are the 2 seed out of the AFC this year. 3, I like the Bengals. I think the Bengals' schedule is a little bit tougher than Jacksonville. I think they might struggle a little bit early, but they're going to be just fine. They'll recover. They're going to be the 3 seed. And then the 4 spot, I think it's also because I think the division is tough, and I think they're going to beat each other up a little bit. I think the Bills are the 4 seed. And then playing them right away is another team from the AFC East is the New York Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers has revitalized that team. He's going to be that team, that player that gets them over the hump. They're going to struggle early with the poor O-line, but I think they're slowly going to get brought along and up to speed. They're going to adjust well. I like the Jets in the 5 seed. And then the 6 seed, you could really just throw a dartboard at any team in the AFC North, and I think you're going to, whoever it is, whether it be the Browns, Ravens, or Steelers, but Lamar Jackson's got some new weapons. This has to be the year that they can all stay healthy, right? So I'm going with the Ravens. I think it comes together. The issue is they're playing in the Bengals division, and that's Joe Burrow's division. So I like the Ravens to get back to the playoffs after a 1-year hiatus. And then in the 7th seed,
They made it last year.
That doesn't count. They no. The Lamar Jackson didn't play. Doesn't count. Okay.
What?
Let's let it go. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh,
You're right. They did. They played that Sunday night game against the Bengals. Sam Hubbard had like the 98-yard.
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley, like I said, Tyler Huntley was the quarterback. That was like when the Raiders made it back in 2016. Connor Cook was the quarterback. There was
Webb.
or Joe Webb.
Packers.
And my surprise team here in the 7th spot for the AFC is the Tennessee Titans.
Ooh.
I think Ryan Tannehill is going to stay healthy. I think Derrick Henry is going to stay healthy. They added DeAndre Hopkins, and who's going to help stretch that field. Try to be a little bit more balanced. To have somebody who can stretch the field. Traylon Burks they also signed as well, and Mike Vrabel. You can never count that guy out. And if he's still on the sideline, I think the Titans sneak around and they find themselves into the 7th seed in the playoffs.
All right. Grant, you want to go? You want me to go? What are we doing?
Yeah, you guys can go do your AFCs.
I'll tee it up here, and
yeah.
Dylan, I hate to break it to you, Dylan, but the Titans did not sign Traylon Burks. They drafted him last year in the 1st round.
Idiot.
After they traded A.J. Brown to Philadelphia on draft night.
Sometimes words are hard. That's what I meant to say. Is he's going to be improved with the DeAndre Hopkins signing?
Yes. Just again had to let you know that they did that. But
my brain sometimes goes faster than my mouth, and that's when I get into trouble. Okay.
No, that's fair.
And if that's the worst thing that happens, I'm doing all right because I've found those situations where my mouth's going a lot faster than my brain, and I've ended up in a lot worse situations. So
no, that's fair. But yeah, we'll get her started here in the AFC, and I'll go to the AFC North first. Dylan, I'm with you. We're gonna have a Cincinnati Bengals three-peat this year, but this to me is going to be the hardest year it takes for them to win their division, because what no one is talking about for the Bengals this year is how they have a whole new secondary. Jesse Bates is gone in Atlanta. Eli Apple's there in Miami, and people will say, Eli Apple, he sucks, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? If he was so bad, then the backup would have played over him last year, but he was the best option they had. So he had to play corner for him. And if I'm not mistaken, I think their other starting safety left as well. So, you draft Jordan Battle and Dax Hill these last couple of years, they're going to have to come up and they're going to have to play big. So new secondary in Cincinnati, that's going to be interesting. And I want to see what their other tackle position is like. You mentioned you signed Orlando Brown Jr. Well, Collins was hurt last year. I want to see who can come back because right tackle was a weakness for them. And Chris Jones exposed him in the AFC title game. And another thing, I've talked to some of my friends about this with Orlando Brown. The one thing we're worried about is one, he's very beatable on a speed rush because he's out of shape, he's fat, and he doesn't like to move his feet. And is his game going to slip a little bit now that he got all this money? He's got his ring. He's playing the position he wants. He's got all this money. Is his play going to dip a little bit? And then also losing Samaje Perine, that I think that's big because you never know when Joe Mixon's going to menace some kids at a playground, and you need a nice backup. And I don't know if Chase Brown can be that guy. But with all that being said, last time I checked, Joe Burrow was still there. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are on that offense, and Joe just finds a way to win games. So I think the Bengals win the AFC North. And with the East, this was the hardest one I had to choose from. I wanted to go Jets. I wanted to go Bills. I don't trust the Patriots. I don't trust the Dolphins. I went back and forth, back and forth. But I'm going to go with Buffalo again, and for this reason here, guys. Leslie Frazier is out on defense. Sean McDermott's calling the defensive plays again. They're not going to sit back in Leslie's cover two and just let teams dink and dunk on him. I think Sean McDermott knows the Jets have a bad offensive line, so he's going to blitz and he's going to attack like he did in Carolina and Philadelphia when he was the defensive coordinator there, while Vaughn is out, and he's going to get more pressure on the quarterback that way. And when they end up playing the Jets, that's going to haunt them because they're going to have to talk through pass protection and everything like that. They're not going to have that communication down. And the new aggressive play style of the Bills defense is going to help them win the AFC East this year. The AFC South, to me, this is the easiest one. It's Jacksonville's division to lose. I don't think any other team in that division is particularly good. The Texans are horrible. The Colts are going to be bad. The Titans have a quarterback you can't trust. They lost a lot of players on defense, no skill players. You got D-Hop, Derrick Henry, a makeshift offensive line in Tennessee. I think the Jags got it in the bag. You grow off from last year's success. Then you also bring in Calvin Ridley, year 2 in the system with Dougie P. Trevor Lawrence is feeling comfortable. A young, athletic defense. I think the Jags roll in the AFC South. So, Dylan, I think we got all 4 division winners. Oh, and Kansas City is winning the AFC West again for the 8th year in a row. They have the best quarterback in football. Right now, they have the best coach. I think eventually they'll get this Chris Jones things figured out. Travis Kelce only has a bone bruise. And I think this Chiefs team is better than last year's team. Why? Because they're all a year experienced. The new secondary they had last year, it's their second year in the system. You bring back Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, Drew Tranquil, Leo Chanel, that linebacker room, a defensive line room that is going to take some. It's going to take some while to get going if Chris isn't there, but they'll be just fine. They were third in the league in sacks last year. People forget about that. And then also one of the better offensive lines in the league in terms of the middle 3 with Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith. And from the reports I heard in training camp, Juwan Taylor and Donovan Smith were having great camps, and people are feeling good about them after losing Orlando Brown and Andrew Wiley. And again, Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. Pat hasn't lost a divisional road game in the division yet. What makes me think anything's going to change? And like you said, Dylan, their schedule is back heavy. So it gives them time to figure things out, do what they do well, things they don't do well. And when it comes in November, they're going to be rolling. And then the first wild card team I have Baltimore Ravens. I think you add Odell, you add Zay Flowers, year 2 in this defense. Lamar he's coming off where he finally got paid. He's got a lot to show and say, hey, you know what? I can be a guy in this league, so Baltimore sneaks in. And a team who hasn't made the playoffs since 2020, but they're feeling good about their second-year quarterback, their second-year wide receiver, and their defensive front they have. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh.
A new offensive line this year. I want to say is Isaac Seumalo. They signed him from Philadelphia. Broderick Jones in the first round. You have Pat Freiermuth as a tight end. Kenny Pickett's Deontay Johnson. Kenny Pickett as your second-year quarterback, like I said. I think Pittsburgh, they're rolling. And as long as T.J. Watt can stay healthy with Alex Highsmith, this defense is going to get after it. And I think they sneak. I don't think they sneak in. I think they get in as the 6th seed. And number 7, I'm going to go with the New York Jets. I think it's going to take a while for this offensive line to get going, to keep Aaron upright, let him and Garrett Wilson get some connection going, and Aaron with these other receivers on this team. The Jets, great defense, but that backfield scares me. He just signed Dalvin. He hasn't been in training camp much. Breece Hall coming off an ACL tear. A tough first 6 weeks of the year where you have Philadelphia, New England, Buffalo, Dallas, and Denver in your first 6 games, in Kansas City. I think it's going to take the Jets a while to get going, and that's why they're the 7th seed for me, because they're going to win some games late and barely sneak in.
What do you have 1 through 4 as far as the divisions go?
Number 1, I'm going to go Kansas City. Number 2, I'm going to go Cincinnati. Jacksonville 3 and Buffalo 4.
All right.
Okay. And just a little bit of a teaser and a free pick here on the podcast. You know, Grant, you brought up the Steelers making the playoffs. Steelers right now plus 2.5 week 1 against the Niners at home. Just throwing that out there. Steelers plus 2.5.
That might be some easy money
Lock
right
of
there.
the week. One of the locks of the week.
Wow. Well, guess I'll start in the AFC North. What else is new? I'm disagreeing with you guys. I'm going with the Ravens. Lamar's paid. Hopefully they stay healthy, and when they're healthy, they have a top 10 roster in the NFL. They're going to give Cincinnati everything they freaking want in that division, so I'm rolling with them. AFC South Jaguars. I'm not even going to try and make an argument for anyone else. Those teams are absolutely terrible. There's a reason they've all picked in like top 10 the past 2 years, whatever the hell it is. Maybe not the Titans, but the Titans are trash. Sorry, Dylan. But AFC East, I'm buying the Kool-Aid. I'm going with the Jets. Why the hell not? I'm really not a big Buffalo fan. I don't know. Like, they don't run the ball enough. I don't know if that's come back to haunt them or not or something, but like Dylan said, they're one play away from being screwed, and Diggs doesn't seem like he's happy. Defense is okay, but yeah, maybe McDermott will do something different now that Leslie's gone. They won't just sit back and get picked apart. But until then, I'm taking the Jets. AFC West, super easy. It's the Chiefs. No one else even comes close. Wild cards, we're going to give Buffalo as a 5 seed. I think they do enough to win the division's going to beat the shit out of each other. Like, it's maybe each team wins 2 games in the division, honestly, or 1 game. Like, I guess it happens everywhere, but it's going to be a lot of just mismatching all over the place. Next one, the 6 seed. This is my biggest surprise. I got the Broncos. I hate Sean Payton, but the dude can coach. And if Russell Wilson is even a shell of himself that he was in Seattle, they have some serious talent and a good defense over there. Like, they can do some good things. And I guess that you could technically count these guys as a loser just because they had such high expectations, but Cincinnati has the 7th seed.
Oh,
They sneak in.
Wow.
They do sneak in at the end here. But they very well might be the most dangerous 7th seed to ever step in the playoffs. Because I do not.
Who are they?
I'll do one for it in a second, but I do not want to play Cincinnati if I am the 2 seed. Like, I am shitting bricks. I do not want to play Joe Burrow. But no, 1 seed has to be the Chiefs. Until someone beats Mahomes, it's not going to change. 2 seed, I'm going Jets. I like Aaron Rodgers. He has some serious tools out there now. A lot of talent on the offensive end. 3 seed, we're going Jaguars. No, they're going to be 6-0 in that division, probably fairly easy. So I don't think anyone's really going to challenge them. And then the 4 seed, Baltimore. That division again just beats the hell out of each other. And they sneak in as the 4 seed. They maybe like 11-7, something like that.
11-6.
6, that'd be it.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Well, did you guys get to watch Hard Knocks last night? Aaron Rodgers talked about with his buddy seeing a UFO.
Yeah,
It's like, I want to know what type of mushrooms he was on when he heard this.
his psychedelic trips there. But it's, Dill, each episode of Hard Knocks got worse and worse this year.
It did. It was by the end last night. I was moving around. I was getting stuff ready for tomorrow. I was like, I just don't care.
It started off really good with the Jets, and it got worse and worse each episode. But the Kool-Aid Ethan's drinking, I totally get it, because Aaron has changed that team.
He's
some
a
of the
totally
throws
different human.
he can still make. He doesn't look like he's almost 40 years old now. He looks like he's a 33-year-old adult in his prime. Like, we very well, guys, might be getting 2014 Aaron Rodgers.
He's happy. He's content, and
exactly.
Yeah, that team has swagger.
They do, and
he's coming out of the darkness.
They're rallying around him. Yes. their big thing is if they can keep him upright, people are going to be in trouble because he's coming for blood this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he looks the part. And if the Jets struggle for some reason at all, it's not going to be because of him. And also, Hard Knocks did a nice job of making him look like a good dude.
Yeah, well, that was the problem. Is why I think it got worse is because as the episodes went on, they just showed less and less of Aaron. If they showed more, and I know we made this talk of like an anti-Joe Buck episode of where it was just him
jerking Aaron off.
Yeah, jerking Aaron off. But it was better when it had more Aaron in it. So. And if Aaron has a good season, that means the Jets are going to be longer. So that means that the NFL season is going to be better. It's just how that works. So with that, we're going to go over to the NFC. And, we'll start here. And now this is just the conference itself. We'll start here in the NFC North. And I know there is a lot of talk about Justin Fields and the Bears are going to be improved.
Oh, fuck off.
In a little secret, Justin Fields is a bust. He's 5-21 as a starting quarterback. He's a YouTube quarterback, as Colin Cowherd would like to say. They're going to be at the bottom of the NFC North again. They're going to be looking to draft Caleb Williams. Them and the Cardinals. Those are going to be the two worst teams in the NFC this year. Packers don't really know because you don't know what you're getting with Jordan Love. I hear mixed things. And then there's the Lions. The Lions and Vikings. The Vikings are the defending champions. They're in year 2 under Kevin O'Connell. The defense was miserable last year, but only up from here because they brought in a new coach, Brian Flores. I don't know a bad defense that Brian Flores coached. And the Lions, they're still the Lions. And until I see it, I cannot pick them to win the division. So, by default here, I'm going with the Bears. I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm not going with the Bears. Ethan shit his pants there a little bit. He's like, what is wrong with this guy? No, I'm going with the Vikings to repeat.
It wouldn't happen because you predicted it. So, if you want to say it,
probably.
Go right ahead.
Yeah. Okay, well, shoot. You're really going to hate me then, too, because now, like I said, I think the Vikings repeat as NFC North champions.
It's the right call.
I think. And then let's go over to the NFC West here. And 49ers are the defending West champions. But is Brock Purdy really good? I'm not sure. He's coming back from a UCL injury. He's barely been able to throw. I'm not entirely sold on Brock Purdy. But so the Cardinals, like I said, they're going to be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. The Rams
very well could be too.
They very well could be. I wouldn't be shocked if they are sellers at the trade deadline. You could see Aaron Cooper Kupp.
They sold everyone.
And the guys on their roster nobody wants because of the salary cap.
And Aaron Donald ain't going nowhere. He'll retire.
Aaron Donald will retire before he gets traded.
No
one's going to trade for Cooper Kupp because he can't walk up the stairs without straining a hamstring. And Matt Stafford can't.
Your predictions.
Sorry.
There are a lot of dumb organizations, is what I'm saying. And you know what?
I'm dumb though, because they did get a Super Bowl out of it, so now they're just.
They do have a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Well, and I'm not even necessarily calling the Rams dumb, but I'm saying there are dumb people that will trade for damaged goods.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So, yeah, and the Rams need draft capital, and they don't have any. But anyways, it's a toss-up between the 49ers and Seahawks. Nick Bosa just got a brand new deal, but I'm going back up to the Pacific Northwest. I like the Seahawks. I like what I've seen with Geno. They've got a good running game in Kenneth Walker, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba as well. Going to help give just Geno more weapons. My old Michigan guy.
Charbonnet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He is part of the Seahawks as well. And, a two-headed monster. Their offensive line is improved. And the way Pete plays, it's going to play complementary football. They're going to run the ball. They're going to be effective. And I like the Seahawks to come out of the NFC West. And then let's go to the NFC South. Now, also a terrible division. This is
Someone's got to win it.
somebody's got to win it. And a lot of people, there's a lot of hype about Bryce Young being drafted by Carolina. I think he is a tremendous player. I'm very high on him. The issue is he plays for the Carolina Panthers and Frank Reich. And watching Carolina in the preseason, they could not protect anybody. Frank Reich is going to get the guy killed. And used to be a Frank Reich guy, but I'm done chaining him. I'm out. They're going to need a new head coach here. Maybe Deion Sanders. Who knows? But
Oh, Jesus.
the Bucks, no. So I'm back. We're going to Hotland. I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons to win the NFC South
Wow.
here.
Damn.
I think Bijan Robinson is a tremendous player. They've improved their offensive line. They drafted the offense tackle Matt Burgeon out of Syracuse, who a lot of teams had first-round grades on to help improve that offensive line. I think Desmond Ridder is a question mark. It's a fair question mark, but with guys like Kyle Pitts, Drake London on the outside, and Bijan Robinson, I think he's not going to be asked to do a lot. Just with him, less is more. Just do what Dallas should be doing with Dak is, run the ball, play action, things like that. I think 9-8, 10-7, and hell, even maybe 8-9 might win this division. So I like the Falcons coming out of the NFC South. And then we're going up to the NFC East.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
And
Well, yeah.
Washington, no. Sam Howell, Ron Rivera used to be a Ron Rivera guy, out on him as well.
Stop postponing your
Giants, I
funeral
think-
and just pick.
You're
They just picked the
mad 'cause
team at
you're
I-95.
just hitting on a guy that had cancer. Totally obvious.
Yep. You caught me.
Quit
The
postponing
Giants, I
your
think, are
funeral.
going to take.
God.
And
Such
Let
a
me talk
terrible-
here.
That's terrible.
Yeah. They can try to cancel me, but they can't. They won't. They'll fail. Just like the Washington season will, as will the Giants. I think that there's about six or seven new playoff teams every year. The Giants were last year. I think they missed the playoffs this year. And this is a 2-horse race between the Cowboys and the Eagles. And there has not been a back-to-back division winners since the Bush administration.
Seriously?
in that division.
I'm
Holy
I'm
shit.
positive. I don't remember the last time.
I think it was the Eagles with
It was
Coach Reed
with
was
the
there.
Eagles. It was the Eagles at some point. I think it was when Donovan McNabb was still the quarterback for the.
I think
Well,
it
for
was
the Eagles.
03, 04, 02, 03, 04, somewhere
Wow.
around there.
So, and I think that trend continues. I'm going with my Dallas Cowboys. They're going to win the NFC East. Mike McCarthy's going to win Coach of the Year. They're going to get back to playing complementary football. He's taken over the play calling duties. I think they're going to be trying to run the ball a lot more. They're going to have a little bit more balanced attack. I think that defense is going to prove to be why they are one of the best defenses in the league. And I like the Cowboys to win the NFC East. Playoff teams in the 7th spot, if there's any consolation prize, I do like the Lions roster. I like Dan Campbell. I like Jared Goff. I like Jahmyr Gibbs. Losing Jamison Williams the first 6 games is going to hurt, but I think they're going to be, once he gets caught up, I think they're going to be really good. And the Iowa tight end as well. I like
Dan
their
Laporta?
defense. One of the
Laporta.
great offensive line. I like the Lions to sneak in as the 7th seed. And then in the 6th seed, I'm going to go with the 49ers. I think I questioned if Brock Purdy is good, but I think he's got enough around him. Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, George Kittle. Good offensive line, a really good defense. I think the 49ers sneak in as the 6th seed. And then in the 5th seed, The Eagles, that roster is too good. I wouldn't be shocked if they are 12-5, a 13-4 number 5 wild card. And in the 4 spot, I think the Falcons, like I said, they're 9-8, 10-7 win team. 3, I'm going with the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks, I have about 10, 11 wins. And then same thing with the Vikings. I think the Vikings and the Seahawks are about that same record. Both teams probably will lose a game they shouldn't, and they'll win a game. Lose a game they shouldn't, and win a game they shouldn't as well. I think that's just, I guess, in a sense, the nature of the NFL. And then the 1 seed, and I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going with the Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to be the 1 seed. The NFC goes through Dallas until the divisional round when they lose to the 49ers again. But I do believe, if we're going by if we're just looking at the rosters, I do believe Dallas has one of the top 3 rosters in the NFC.
I think that's a fair statement.
Can it come all together? We're gonna find out. Probably not. But you know what? I'm just gonna roll with it.
Well, I'll go second again since I went second last time. And Dylan, you started in the North, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go there, and
You are there.
I am there. Yeah. Thank you. That was bad.
Yeah.
But guys, for the North, I'm gonna be that guy. Ethan was drinking the Kool-Aid in the AFC. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid in the NFC. I'm taking the Lions.
You suck Dan Campbell.
Wow.
I'm taking the Lions. And Dylan, for the reason you said right there.
Bit his kneecap off.
That offensive line. They are a big, physical, nasty group. They're going to run the ball with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs during these first 6 weeks when they just have Amon-Ra and they don't have Jameson Williams, and you're trying to get Sam Laporta in as a rookie. Their front is going to be too big and too physical for other teams, and I think they're going to keep Jared Goff upright. And then also with them running the ball, they're going to limit the potential mistakes Jared Goff could make. And also the reason why I like them is because it's the same defensive coordinator and the same offensive coordinators last year. I get it. The Lions defense was not good last year to start the year. It got better throughout the year. When you have the same year with the same communication on both sides of the ball, you can go in a training camp not having to learn a whole new system. I think that benefits them compared to where the Vikings, they got to sit back and they got to learn Flores' defense. You're right, Dylan. It's not going to be as bad as last year, but they're going to have their growing pains early, and I think maybe a loss or two early is going to hurt the Vikings because the Vikings and Lions play twice in the last 3 weeks of the year.
16 and 18.
16 and 18. The NFC North is coming down to week 16 and 18. By then, I'm with you, Dylan. The Bears are going to be the last team in this division. I don't think they got better this offseason.
No.
And free agency, you signed 2 off-ball linebackers. This isn't 2005 anymore, Ryan Poles. Giving money to Edwards and Edmonds. So it's going to be close. It's going to come down to the Vikings and Lions in the end. And I'm going to go slight advantage to the Lions. Slight advantage to the Lions there. I think maybe like an 11-6 mark to the Vikings 10-7 with that. And then we're going to go out west. And I'm rolling with the 49ers again. Because not only do they bring back the same defensive line, you bring on Javon Hargrave from Philadelphia with Bosa, Eric Armstead, Hargrave, and then the defensive end, Alshire, and another guy's last name I can't pronounce. That with Fred Warner in the front, that front seven is it's too physical. That defense, they're going to be flying around. I understand losing to D'Amico Ryans is going to be tough, but it's going to be kind of the same system on there with that. And then I look at Seattle. Their biggest weakness last year was their run defense, and they signed Draymond Jones from Denver. He was a nice player, but he wasn't anything great. And people are like, oh, they brought Jaron Reed back. Jaron Reed's on his 4th team in 4 years. If you're a good player in the NFL, you don't go from 4 teams in 4 years. So I think with that Seahawks defense still a little weak in the middle, I get, yeah, Bobby Wagner, but when your defensive tackles can't protect you, he can't make plays. The Niners are still going to be run the ball. They're going to be physical. They have the best roster in that division. And I am a huge Kyle Shanahan fan. I think he built his offense around Brock Purdy. Brock's a good quarterback for him. He's going to limit mistakes. And sure, it was, I think, 6 or 7 starts last year. But in those games, the Niners averaged the most points in the NFL when Brock was a starting quarterback at 33 points a game. I think they continue to roll, and that pass rush is able to tee off. I like the Niners out west. And in the NFC South, guys, this league comes down to just who's your quarterback. And they have the best quarterback in the division. I know Derek Carr likes to throw the ball to the other team sometimes, but when you throw in that Saints defensive line with Cam Jordan and how Dennis Allen as the head coach coming into the second year, the Saints, they have got a good defense. And the Falcons always find a way to lose a game. The Saints, they shouldn't. With Chris Olave, you bring in Jamal Williams. Alvin Kamara is going to come back from suspension after beating some guy up in Las Vegas. Just the fact that, and if Michael Thomas, this is a big if he can stay healthy, I like the Saints in that division. And then last but not least, the NFC East. Dylan, I appreciate you being a fan and how much faith you have in your team. But it's the Philadelphia Eagles division to lose. Their quarterback is a lot better. Their offensive line is better. Their defensive line is better. And all 3 aspects of the game that matter those. Oh, and by the way, they have a better tight end and their receivers are better. So even though they lost both coordinators and some other players like that, it's just the Eagles, that roster is too good. So I'm picking the Eagles to win the NFC East again. But you're not wrong. Dallas does have a top 3 roster in the NFC. Their problem is they just have to play second fiddle to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Second best coach in the division as well is the Eagles. They got a fake tough guy in Nick Sirianni.
Hey, but he's one competitive son of a bitch, and he'll play in the game of rock, paper, scissors till the end.
Yeah, he'll lose though.
So with that, I think we had every division in the AFC line up, but in the NFC we don't agree on one. But with the first wild card, it's Dallas. Like I said, they're probably, if you ask me, they're the 3rd best team in the NFC. It's just you don't get a top 4 seed if you don't win your division, and you can't win your division when Philadelphia wins it. The second wild card spot, this is where I had the Vikings in there, guys. Like I said, I think this is going to be about a 10-7 football team. It's going to take a while to get this defense going, to improve on it, and also it's a tough schedule. It's a first place schedule. You got to play the Eagles. You got to play the Niners. You got to play the AFC West. And also for the 17th game, the Vikings have to play the Bengals this year. You got to go to Cincinnati in December.
Chiefs.
And the Chiefs. You got to go to Mile High. Ethan's surprise team in the AFC. Like I said, I think they're going to be better. I like the skill players. The Vikings have a lot. How can you not? JJ, KJ, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, the second year in this offense, he's going to absolutely feast. I love the tackles with Brian O'Neill and Darisaw. Brad Berry, I'm not sold on, but I like Ezra Cleveland. And Ed Ingram played every snap as a rookie. He's only going to get better this year. So I think they're going to keep Kirk upright better than they did last year. So the Vikings are the 6th seed in the NFC for me. And then I like Seattle as the 7. For every reason Dylan said. You have Geno, you have JSN. You're going to run the ball. Pete's going to shorten the game up. Just the one thing that worries me is people's ability to run the ball on them is going to be plentiful. But hey, you got you bring Bobby Wagner back, Kenneth Nwosu in his second year in the system. Their linebacker Brooks, number 56, he's a stud in this league. Boy Mafe coming off on year 2. Defensive linemen always get better in year 2 because you're a grown ass man, and their secondary is going to be good. It was good last year with Tariq Warren, Colby Wright. You draft Devin Witherspoon. Jamal Adams comes back. Diggs back there. Seattle's a good football team. Again, their problem is they're just in a tough division with the 49ers, and I think they're a touch better, but they get in as the 7.
So so far we're 3 of 3 of playoff teams. We just have the the spots off. But
Mhm.
anyways, continue with your 4-1.
4-1. Well, we're gonna go number 4 with. Wait for it here, boys. The New Orleans Saints. Just like you said, Dylan. I think they're going to be a 9-8, 10-7 team. Hell, you could have the Vikings with a better record than them, but with the Lions winning the division, they get that. We're going to the Lions at the 3 seed. Again, I think they're going to be better, but they're not one of the top 2 or even top 3 teams in this league. The number 2 team is the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a lot tougher schedule this year. You lose your coordinators. Can they go back to back? Can Jalen do it again? I think who knows? I think Philadelphia might be a better team, but their record's not going to be the same because they have a tougher schedule. And I'm all aboard the San Francisco train. You guys should know this by now. I had them in the Super Bowl last year. I love their roster. I love the way they play. I love Shanahan's offense. I think they're going to be the number 1 team in the NFC.
Hard to argue. But starting the North, call me a homer if you want. Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in this division until the Lions actually show something. Yes, they had a great end of the year last year, but they didn't win it. So the Vikings are going to take the NFC North.
Hey, Ethan and I agree.
Yes, we
Grant's
agree.
the idiot.
Mhm.
The loser.
Yes. So yeah, whoever doesn't agree with me is the idiot. So I'm glad we've all figured this out now. So we'll go down to NFC South. What a shit division! Like this is
It's
AFC
awful.
South, just not as bad. I'm going with Grant. So Dylan, you are again the loser.
Loser.
Saints. Derek Carr it's crazy to me. He goes from like one of the best quarterback divisions to literally one of the worst because now he is the best quarterback in the division.
He went from worst to first.
He really did. But no, like you said, Michael Thomas, like that could be such a huge boost for them, even if he's remotely healthy for maybe 12 games.
Mhm.
They might actually do something. Go over to NFC East. Dylan, if the Cowboys have a top 3 roster, the Eagles have a top 2 in the NFC. So we're going with the Eagles. I mean, they don't have a weakness.
Don't have a weakness.
Like it's stupid. It's not
Quarterback.
fair. And yet we're going to start to talk about a better team than them, even the 49ers. Like, Joey Bosa just got 170 million. That dude is going to go tear heads off. Like
Nick.
sorry, not Joey. My bad. Nick Bosa. He's going to go kill people. Like he's going to be a mass murderer out there. So that goes to my wild card teams. This is where it gets a little interesting. I almost picked these guys as my biggest surprise winner, but I went Packers as the 5 seed. I like their defense. They've been getting more to that downhill running. AJ Dillon, and whatever the hell the other Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
Combo they got there. And Watson, I think, is gonna have a big breakout in Dobbs. I don't know how to say his name, but
Romeo Dobbs.
Romeo Dobbs.
Yep.
That's a pretty good for 2 rookies last year. They were pretty freaking good. I mean, Christian Watson's stats aren't gonna keep going up like they were. He's not gonna get 2 touchdowns every fucking game for 6 weeks in a row.
He's not gonna play Dallas every week.
No, he's not. But sorry, Dylan. Trey Diggs sucks. Let's just get it over with. But good thing you traded for Gilmore. But 6 seed Cowboys, Dylan, you're welcome. They're going to be good. It's just they have Dak, so their ceiling's limited. Let's just call it what it is. They don't have Zeke anymore, so your goal line backs are probably going to get smashed at the line of scrimmage, get screwed over. I'm just kidding.
They always get.
tried to trade for Pollard in the Dynasty League. Didn't happen, but I tried.
That's where the hate is coming from. I got it. I understand.
It's a little shade. It's nothing personal, I promise. And my last team, the 7th seed, I got the Giants. I think they're going to get back into the postseason. This was Dable's 2nd year.
Yep.
I think him and Daniel Jones had a good thing going. They finally got Saquon to sign, so I think that he signed, right? I'm just double checking that. I'm pretty sure he did. Yes.
Yeah, for at least another year.
Yeah, so I think they're going to be good. Their defense was solid last year, only going to get better. So that leads me to my top 4 seeds. Saints, number 4. Kind of by default that they get the 4 seed. All 3 of these teams in the wild card very well could have better records than them. 3 seed, as much as I want to put the Vikings up at the 2, I can't. They're not going to be better than the Eagles. They're not going to be better than the 49ers. Their schedule's an absolute gauntlet. So even if they do win the division, it's going to be definitely deserved. unlike last year where it was we're just going to score you because our defense couldn't hit water if it fell out of a boat. 2 seed, we're going Eagles. Like Grant said, they have just like the Vikings, they have the first place schedule too. It's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be freaking hard. They go coast to coast, like the best teams. Like their schedules are just as bad as the Vikings, so they'll get second. 49ers first. They have the best roster in all of football. Doesn't matter if it's really defense, offense is even amazing. Like they literally can't do anything wrong.
They were so confident in their roster, Dylan. They took your kicker in the 3rd round.
They what?
They took your kicker, Michigan. Was it
Oh
Moody?
yeah, Jake Moody. Yep.
They took Jake in the 3rd round.
It's a pretty big.
That's how,
fuck you to the rest of
without
the league.
having a pick in the first 2 rounds, that's how confident they are in their roster.
Pretty big fuck you.
That's true.
And they just restructured
though,
Kittle, which is interesting. And Trent
40
Williams today.
49ers too are also a team that can never stay healthy. So
And yet they still beat your Cowboys.
it's hard, when the Cowboys have to play the 49ers and the refs. So, that's exactly
Ethan,
what it was.
when
When they decide their last play, they decide to have their running back as a center.
Well, that's your fat, overweight coach decided to do that.
And your Jerry Jones fucking owner. He's such a fuck.
It's actually the correct term is fat Sean Payton.
He is not as good as Sean Payton. Shut up. Do not put Sean Payton's name.
They are the same. They're the
No,
same
they're
person.
not. You know
Go
why?
look at their resumes.
Mike
Mike
McCarthy,
McCarthy's just fatter.
he would
Okay.
not tell Russell Wilson to stop kissing fucking babies. You're not running for public office.
How do you know that?
Because Mike
How do you
McCarthy.
know that?
Mike McCarthy, let's be honest, is probably a cuck. Let's
He's
be
a little
honest here.
bitch. He's a little bitch.
Unbelievable. You guys are gonna slander him that way. It's that they have the same resumes. Maybe Mike McCarthy does it and he doesn't have to tell the world about it. Like unlike Sean Payton has to let everybody know about it. Sean Payton's a fake tough guy. I'm just saying. He's saying all this, but who knows?
MVP.
But let's go to our surprise teams. My surprise team is the Atlanta Falcons. I think a lot of people have written them off. They're a forgotten team. But they drafted Deion Sanders. It's a good time for Falcons alums, I guess. Matt Ryan doesn't have to play for the Colts anymore.
Oh, thank God.
Yep. I think Art Smith is a very underrated coach. I think they've made improvements to the offensive line, and I think defensively they have gotten a lot better, signing Bud Dupree, Calais Campbell.
Jesse Bates.
Grady Jarrett's still there. I think they've got a very good interior pass rush. And like I said, I think the Falcons win a putrid, but you can still hang the banner NFC South.
For my surprise team, guys, I'm going to go to the AFC in my 6th seed, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing record as a full season as a head coach, and that will continue this year because they got their guy in the first round in Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson. With Najee Harris, I think this offense is going to take off in year 2. And Pittsburgh is always going to have that nasty physical defense. You re-sign Alex Highsmith this offseason with TJ Watt, Cam Hayward in the middle. They're going to get after it a little bit. They're going to cause either the Ravens or the Bengals to lose that division this year because they're going to beat them late. It's the AFC North is going to come down to one game, and it's because some team lost to Pittsburgh. It's the Mike Tomlin effect. So I think the Steelers are going to surprise the people and make it in.
Oh, God. I said the Broncos earlier. I'm tempted to do the Packers. I was looking at my notes again. But I'm going to stick with the Broncos. Sean Payton's a hell of a coach. And the only team that can beat him in the playoffs is the Vikings, and they're in the NFC. So he very well might go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, God, we're screwed.
Yeah, it's over.
We are screwed. We don't know this, folks, but we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's the thing. Russell Wilson's actually going to get some sleep, and Sean Payton's going to turn that organization around. Oh, it's over. It's done. It's done. It's done.
False hope.
Sorry, Grant. Season's over. Take the hat off. Take the shirt off. Go home.
Yep, go home.
Yep, strip naked.
2 and 4 years, but that's not enough.
Nope, it's over. It's just
over.
imploded.
The
Pat
dynasty's
Mahomes
over.
cares more about the basketball court in his house than he cares about winning football games.
The dynasty's over, even though it was never a dynasty. Because to be a dynasty, you need to win 3.
Correct.
That's my
Good, you're
stance on
finally
it.
learning.
Motherfucker, I've never said that before.
Oh, you've said it.
All right, you're disappointing me, just like how my disappointing team is going to be the Miami Dolphins this year. You trade for Jalen Ramsey. Poor guy has a meniscus surgery. He's out till at least December. Secondary was an issue last year. The secondary will continue to be an issue this year. Your quarterback has 2 concussions last year. He's 1 away from never playing football again. How do we improve our offensive line this offseason? We don't. Against the Bills' aggressive defense, like I said, Quinn Williams and the Jets, and the lack of running game the Dolphins have, I'm starting to think Mike McDaniel wasn't the architect of that running game in San Francisco. That was Kyle Shanahan's excuse to get him off that coaching staff because he's crazy. You have Tyreek and you have Jalen. You lose Mike Gesicki to the Patriots this offseason. I think the Dolphins are going to fall, and they're my disappointing team this year.
I know I picked Cincinnati prior, but I'm going to go Chargers. I think Denver overtakes them. They're not going to catch the Chiefs. Just their defense, they were pretty terrible against the run again last year, right? And they probably did nothing to actually do it, like fix it.
So you want to know what they did? They let their best linebacker go. And Drew Tranquill. 144 tackles last year, 6.5 sacks.
Genius.
Or no, 4.5. I think it was 4.5 sacks and a couple forced fumbles. They let him go to Kansas City. Who do they sign? Eric Kendricks.
Oh, that's
so
right.
They got older
and
slow. They got older and slower at the linebacker position.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go Chargers. Their coach sucks too.
Oh, and they got Dylan's guy, Kellen Moore.
True.
That's why I have Dallas winning the division. Kellen Moore ain't calling plays, and that's also why they're the most disappointing team. Brandon Staley hasn't found a 4th down he doesn't want to go for.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is atrocious, like you said. They got older and slower. Their offensive line isn't improved, and instead of addressing it, they go out and draft another receiver who will probably be injured and hurt frequently, similar to Keenan Allen. He'll be out. Keenan Allen will be out by week 4. And it's a shame because Justin Herbert is extremely talented, but he plays for a very dysfunctional franchise, and it's going to cost him his career. So I have the Chargers as my most disappointing team.
The next Phillip Rivers.
Because they didn't make the playoffs.
You know what's crazy, guys? Our 2 disappointing teams play each other week 1.
Yeah, that's right. They do.
Disappointing is real quick.
Real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and Grant actually has off, but usually he's getting off at about that time, and he'd be very disappointed to find out that the 225 game is going to be Dolphins Chargers.
325, sir. Thank you.
225 Mountain.
Well, that just sounds stupid.
Nobody talks about Mountain Time.
Yeah, it just sounds stupid.
Oh, yeah, it's the best time zone to watch sports.
Eastern Montana.
I'm done with your bias. Can we move on to talk about the MVP, please?
Yeah, let's hear
this. Yeah, because you have no rebuttals to it because you know I'm right. And
it's
yes, we will move on to curveball of the week.
Nobody talks about that. That's why I have nothing to say because I've never talked about it before.
You guys, I've had that discussion a few times with people about the best time zone to watch sports, and I've always I truly do think it is Mountain. But, anyways, we'll go over to curveball of the week here. And
MVP, dumbass.
Whoa. MVP.
Oh, yeah, we did. Oh, that's right. I forgot about MVP. Easy. Go home.
Must be that Mountain
muted.
Time Zone air or something, Ethan. It's making him stupid.
Yeah, he's muted.
Oh! Dylan canceled Ethan.
This is not around the horn. This is BS.
Dylan canceled Ethan because Dylan saw
your ass.
Ethan minus 2 points.
Oh no, I should get plus 10. I did enough to piss Dylan off.
You were talking. It's all this smoke in the air coming from Fidel Castro's illegitimate kid in Canada.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Why did Fidel Castro come into this conversation? Good Lord.
Go look up Fidel Castro, Justin Trudeau. That's all I'm gonna say. They look eerily similar, and Trudeau's parents were very good friends with the Castros. You
read
could.
into too much.
It was a meme on the internet.
Canadian Prime
And if it's on the internet, it has to be true.
Absolutely.
So yeah, is there some less oxygen going to my brain right now because of all the forest fires from Canada? Yeah. Okay. So maybe I say a few dumb things. What's changed in the last 10 years of us knowing each other?
Literally nothing.
Not a
You're
goddamn
still an
thing.
idiot.
Exactly. There we go. So we'll go to MVP, and my MVP is, again, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm going Trevor Lawrence as MVP. He has a good year.
Duval.
Damn.
And gets them the 2 seed in the AFC and takes that next step. And he does, second year head coach with Doug Peterson. Similar to what he had with the Eagles. Carson Wentz, if he doesn't tear his ACL, is MVP. I think Trevor Lawrence gets Doug Peterson an MVP this year.
Grant, you going? I'm going. You've been second all night.
Well, remember, I'll go. So remember earlier tonight, guys, when I was talking about the team who I said was going to win this division. They have a whole new secondary. They don't have a tight end. They lost an underrated running back. They have a new offensive tackle, but I'm worried that he's out of shape and he might not want to play.
Mahomes.
No, I'm not.
This.
I'm not. Wait here, boys. I'm doing it. I'm taking the dark side. I'm taking the enemy. Joe Burrow, MVP this year.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, Cincinnati, they're going to have a whole new team. They're going to have stuff stacked up against them. But I think Joe's come in with a vengeance. If he either gets this contract or he doesn't, I think he's sick of hearing a whole offseason of Patrick Mahomes talk. And Cincinnati's going to have the deck stacked against them, a tough schedule. I think he's going to ball out like he did in college, and he's going to do it for a full year. And I think he's going to carry the Bengals to a division title and a spot in the playoffs, and he's going to be really impressive when he's doing it. So I'm taking Joe Burrow as my 2023 NFL MVP.
Grant, as soon as you started talking, you woke Boone up, and he was actually looking around for you. So he knows your voice.
Hi, Boone.
Hi, Boone. But I was going to pick Aaron Rodgers, but just saying that name, it comes off feminine to me, and football is a male sport, so I just couldn't.
Aaron is a girl's name.
So I'm going back to Lamar. He's back. He's healthy. He has weapons.
Ooh.
I like it. I think he's going to get a second.
All right.
And also, can
Trevor
I say something
Lawrence?
here? Can I say something here?
Sure.
I think the AFC North is the best division in football. If you listen to me and Ethan, we both have 3 teams from that division making the playoffs. I had the Bengals winning that division. He has the Ravens. So we clearly think best division in football. You win that, you deserve the MVP.
Yeah.
There it is. There's that. Make most sense you guys have made all night. So we'll go over to Kirk.
But you're still a loser.
Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. That's all I have to say.
Did you say cry, Eagles cry? Yeah, I know they will be crying.